Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. While a lot of attention has been focused on Pope Francis and his pro-globalist climate alarmism, it's pretty good here to take a step back and look at the Vatican's history in this area. Back in 2007, under Pope Benedict, not Pope Francis, the Vatican signed on to a deal to offset its carbon emissions output by planting a forest in Hungary. They went worldwide. That news went worldwide because the Vatican, which besides being the physical center of the church, is also the world's smallest country and was signing up to be the world's first so-called carbon neutral nation. Much ballyhoo surrounded the photo op when the developer of the company to plant the forest presented the certificate of award to Curial Cardinal Paul Poupard on July 5th, 2007. That's the picture right there. The Vatican was about to make history and was advancing the nonsense even then of climate alarmism. In fact, a couple of years later, when Benedict was still the Pope, the entire roof of the Vatican's Paul VI Auditorium was covered in solar panels to offset carbon emissions, again, for the world's tiniest country. The panels were donated by a German company, Solar World, which was fitting since Benedict was German, who said the offset would save 70 tons of carbon emissions. The press release did not, however, contain any information about how much carbon was pumped into the atmosphere in the harvesting of the raw materials to make the panels, nor the actual manufacturing of them, which produces all kinds of toxins, nor the transportation of them to Rome. And 10 years from now, when the panels have reached the end of their useful lives and have to be torn off and thrown away, there's no word on that either, about which landfill 2,800 panels will just be dumped into, find their way to. So much for caring about the environment and all that stuff. All that mattered was that the Vatican had been willingly enlisted as a publicity partner with its solar energy commitment and its brand new shiny carbon offsetting forest, which, by the way, turns out was never planted because the company that said it would just never did. Great photo op, but no trees. The scientific tribalism surrounding the climate narrative has turned out to be a pretty big business, especially when you toss in billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in government subsidies. But even with those tens, probably hundreds of billions of dollars of your money to boost them up, corporations across the country and the world are throwing in the towel on the facade of a so-called green economy because it's losing massive amounts of money for them, even with billions in subsidies. The market for electric vehicles has collapsed, as Mercedes-Benz, General Motors, and Honda have now discovered. Dealers can't sell them because consumers don't want them. Ford had so many 2023 EVs sitting around because dealers refused shipment. They had so many that they've simply rebranded that entire inventory, the entire supply, as 2024 models, and will try to offload them on consumers that way. Over in the windmill sector of the green economy, it's the same story. Again, as company after company sees its profits crater, stocks fall, and bank accounts drain. One Danish company has lost nearly $6 billion, and multiple planned windmill farms are being canceled left and right. And when it comes to the solar panel industry, remember that German company that installed them on the roof of the Vatican Auditorium? Well, it went belly up in 2017 because what it said was, quote, ongoing price distortions, which prevented a, quote, positive forecast for the future. Of course, warning signs were everywhere before the collapse. The year after those panels went into the Vatican, America's last mastermind, Barack Obama, had his administration direct $500 million, $537 million to be exact, of your money to a solar panel company called Solyndra. Just 2 years later, in 2011, it went belly up. So much for your money and Obama's little pet project. Obama's cylinder scandal, as it came to be called, was only the first in a string of such bankruptcies which became so bad for irresponsibly directing tens of billions of dollars into an ideologically driven industry that, look at that, even CNN got in on the action, blasting Obama. And so it goes all over the Green New Deal country world of the socialists in D.C. who have diverted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions and billions of dollars of your tax money into an industry that is collapsing, an industry not propped up because of science or certainly not profits, but just pure straight-up ideology. As reality begins to set in, the chairman of Toyota began to politely rub it in the faces of automotive competitors a short while ago when he said publicly about their massive losses, quote, "People are finally seeing reality," which is Japanese for "I told you so." The green economy is phony because the science behind it is phony. The communists in D.C. and other countries around the world should probably understand how capitalism actually works before stealing hundreds of billions of dollars of your tax money to blow it all up. And just for curiosity, in 10 years, just what company is the Vatican going to pick up the phone and call to remove those useless solar panels? And what are they going to replace them with? Still, though, reality does not seem to have set in for Pope Francis and the U.S. bishops as they all continue cheerleading the ridiculousness that is climate alarmism. Governments feed the nuttiness with your taxes, and clerics feed the nuttiness with your collection plate donations. We suppose as long as you live on and spend other people's money that you conduct reality as long as you want. All of this needs to be exposed, and to do that, Church Militant is once again happy to organize our Deposit of Faith Coalition members in sponsoring another press conference for politically conservative media so they can understand the connection here between the religious left, led by the U.S. bishops, and the entire ideological-driven Democratic communists. Presenting to the media on Tuesday, November 14th, which will be at the Four Seasons Hotel. That's tomorrow, folks. In Baltimore, during the bishop's annual meeting will be a number of the most highly respected experts ever assembled. John Clauser, he's the 2022 Nobel Prize winner in physics, who will debunk the phony science behind all of this. Mark Morano, he's a producer and writer and former investigative reporter for Rush Limbaugh, who will blow the lid off the plot to collapse America's energy, transportation, and food supply. And Alex Newman, award-winning international journalist who has covered this topic and the misinformation from the left about it for years. Remember Greta Thunberg? Yeah. The press conference will be available for everyone at home beginning to watch live. Again, this is tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on November 14th, Tuesday, tomorrow. So please tell everyone you know. This word has got to get out. They've controlled this messaging for so long. We need this pushback. As the bishops meet and plot in the Marriott directly across the street at the exact same time, we're going to be broadcasting their lies with a Nobel Prize winner and respected journalist experts in all of this. So we'd like to appeal to you to help pay for all of this. It costs a lot of money to plan and execute an event like this, but it's worth it. The last press conference we sponsored in July in D.C. about illegal immigration garnered more than 25 million media impressions as outlet after outlet kept publishing all the information they learned from that stage. The goal, of course, is to create such an overwhelming amount of information so as to encourage various members of Congress to cut off the bishop's funding for all of this. And here we go again. Cut off all the funding for them for all of it, every last bit of every last dime, whatever policy of the communists the bishops are pushing, immigration, climate change, Second Amendment, whatever it is, cut them off. So please click on the donate button just below us here, and you be the heroes, you be the impetus in launching another broadside against all of this corruption. And remember, tune in tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.